Well, Marty, had this been Red Wings and Flyers tonight, the referees would have handed out some 2-minute roughing penalties, and that would have been it. They would have continued playing hockey, but the rough stuff doesn't cut it in the NBA, so as a result, some very heavy fines will be levied undoubtedly as early as tomorrow as Rod Thorne and company look at this particular tape. Charles Barkley threw the first punch, as you will see in the replay again coming up, so he will be the instigator of this fight and undoubtedly will receive the biggest fine of all. Bill Laimbeer, of course, Mahorn will be involved in that as well. Scott Hastings was thrown out, so he'll automatically be docked $500. What kind of effect could this have on the two teams should they meet again?
Well, it's going to be interesting. This is not the sort of thing that teams forget about in the NBA. The other interesting thing was it was not an isolated incident. It was not one guy against one guy. Both benches got involved. 4 or 5 people from each team were very heated out there and were ready to throw punches. When things like that happen, it doesn't go away. The next game is going to be incredibly physical, and you'll see the league probably send in senior refs to make sure that that game does not get under control, or that does not lose control. Tonight, somebody could have been hurt very, very bad. As we said, when somebody goes down and you're in the bottom of a pile, that's the last place you want to be, because the referees are unable really to control people of this size, as in hockey when they're almost the same size as the players. When you're down on the floor, you're going to get uppercuts, you're going to get overheads, you're going to get punches coming from people that you don't even see out there. When that happens, guys can get hurt real bad. We're probably very lucky tonight, Fred.
Yeah, and the Pistons, frankly, are very lucky. Isiah Thomas was ejected moments earlier because, you know, he would have been right in the middle of that pile, and with people like Mahorn and Barkley and Laimbeer and Edwards with their big bodies around there, he could have been hurt. Let's take a look at that incident again. It started with the Mahorn dunk in the final 14 seconds of play. Now watch what happens. Mahorn and Rodman. Now Laimbeer with the basketball sticks it in Ricky's face, and that doesn't work even among friends. And then that just gave Barkley his own green light to come after Laimbeer. Boom, with a left. Then he catches him again with a right, as you will see. After one, I think, glanced off, now the left of the chest. Then he got another glancing blow. Laimbeer with an uppercut here, but our cameraman on the floor tells us that Barkley was able to get 2 shots on Laimbeer inside there, and that's where Billy really suffered a little bit of damage to the cheekbone underneath the right eye as it began to swell up, and then look, Mahorn pull off Edwards.
Right now, you really want players pulling off players or coaches pulling off players or something. Try and get the crowd away, because things happen when people are on top of people. And actually, when you get the spread on the court, if you can get calmer heads, and you see Chuck Daly out there and Jimmy Lynam, if you can get calmer heads involved and get it down to one guy on one guy, the referees at least have a chance to take control of this. When you play physical teams, you have 2 physical teams playing each other, you spend 48 minutes of bumping and grinding and banging, and over a course of that time, things like this sometimes will happen.
You know, Barkley was also cut, as you can see there, near the left eye. As you see, Mahorn and Hastings was also ejected. Perhaps they felt he was precipitating something further. And then as they Laimbeer then walked by the Philadelphia bench, that's when tempers flared again, and then it went down into the tunnel, where I would imagine the security people had to get the call to try to get cooler heads to prevail. But that looks like a hockey face right there.
Now, we have to keep in mind that the black eye that you see on Laimbeer. Keep in mind he had the punch that was thrown at him the other night by Jerry Reynolds that hit him right there. So it may look like the damage is worse than it actually is from this direct fight. And the bruise that he has could have come from this. It could have come from the face or head of Barkley. It could have come from a punch. You don't know. It could be a floor burn. But obviously there was some damage inflicted on Bill Laimbeer. Pistons have to be happy that they got out of this thing, and Laimbeer got out of that fight without having some serious damage. It could have been a cheekbone on either one of those players when you start throwing punches like that. So it's over. It's done with. It won't be forgotten. But you go on and get ready for the game tomorrow.